right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another college really fun mini-series video talking about college application questions or college applications general and everything that is involved. Last week we talked about filling out applications, essays, requirements, how many colleges you should apply to, all that kind of fun stuff. You are free to go back on our website, on our YouTube, on our Facebook page, and watch that video at your leisure. Today, we're going to be talking about finances and scholarships and that fun side of the application process. Once again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to your college advisor, counselor, person at your high school. We are with Ms. Sierra Harris from Webb High School today, who's going to help answer some of our most common questions. So, first things is FAFSA, the most common word you hear when it comes to finances. What is FAFSA?
FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. And so all of your low interest loans from the government, grants, opportunity for scholarships, all that's going to come from FAFSA, and you access it by going on the website of fafsa.ed.gov and creating an account and filling out the information on there.
What qualifications do families need for FAFSA? Or is it qualifications?
There are no qualifications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. And so what FAFSA does is they base it off of your income. And so they're never going to you can't get denied or anything from FAFSA. What they do is they take all of your information that you put into FAFSA into consideration, and at the end they're going to give you something that's called an EFC, which is your expected family contribution, and it can range anywhere from $0 to
$1 million,
100. I don't know. I guess people that have that are more affluent, 100,000, 200,000. It can range from zero all the way up, depending on what they think that you can afford. And even some scholarship programs, they'll ask for your FAFSA information in order to
FAFSA is required?
Yeah. I think theirs is more on a demographic information. So this percent of our students have 0 EFC, this percent of our students, So FAFSA is the document that determines your financial need since the university. And
is it required for the application? Do you have to fill out FAFSA?
No, it is not required.
Okay.
You can, if you have savings for your child, or you're gonna work and pay for college, or you have any other financial access to any other finances, you don't have to fill out FAFSA. FAFSA is only if you want to receive money to pay for college.
Okay. When do FAFSA applications open?
FAFSA opens October 1st.
All right. So what's the deadline for FAFSA?
For FAFSA, it's university dependent. And so most universities now have a priority deadline. That's what you'll see is priority deadline, not a hard deadline, of either January or February 1st, depending on the university. And essentially, FAFSA is on a first come, first served basis. So everyone that fills out the FAFSA prior to that priority deadline is going to get access to the most funds when they become available for the university. So if your school's priority deadline is February 1st, but you don't submit your FAFSA until March or April, you may not get all of your needs, financial needs met. Whereas if you finish your FAFSA in October or November and had to send off to schools and everything was fine, you would be eligible for a lot more aid, because it's essentially a pot. And everyone that has their FAFSA filled out before, obviously based on need and everything, is going to get everything that's in the pot, and everyone that fills it out after that is going to be whatever's left over. So I always advise students to have their FAFSA filled out before holiday break. That way it's out of your hair, you already know. And then if things come back, because sometimes they want maybe additional information, or they want verification, or they want to check the validity of things, you'll have ample amount of time to do all that before the deadline as well.
So then would you suggest waiting until you hear back to see which colleges you are accepted to before filling out FAFSA, or go ahead now, or?
Yeah, no, because you don't have to be accepted to a school to list it on your FAFSA. Honestly, you probably want to just have an idea of all the schools you want to apply to. Even if you're like, I kind of want to go to ECU, but I don't really know. List it on there anyway. You would rather have it on there when you submit it than have to go back and amend it and try to plead with them and everything. So you don't have to be accepted to put the school on your FAFSA. No, definitely not. List all the schools. I always say list all the schools you think you might want to apply to.
Okay.
Just to have it on there.
Speaking of schools you would love and dream to go to, should you apply to schools that are out of your price range?
Yes, of course. Yes, apply to schools that are out of your price range, because a lot of times that sticker price is nowhere near what you would actually pay.
Okay.
A lot of times it takes into consideration the most expensive scenario. So it's taking into consideration you buying all of your textbooks brand new from the bookstore. It's taking into consideration you living in their most expensive housing. It's taking into consideration, it has like transportation and other fees, like you driving to and from home every week. Like there are different, there are scenarios probably factored into the estimated cost that would never even affect you. And there's like health insurance factored in that's like $2,000. But if your parents, if you have health insurance through your family or some other realm, that's an automatic $2,000 you're never even going to see. And then again with FAFSA, like there's like scholarships and FAFSA, federal aid, school aid that you can get that can help make that sticker price manageable. I don't really think even the cheaper schools. So I know Wake Forest is what, like $45,000 a year ish, and she said it was like $23,000. Even though it was $23,000, like I didn't want to pay $23,000 a year. Like I never paid anywhere near that amount. There are different scholarship programs for merit. There are merit-based scholarship programs. There are financial like need-based ones. There's so much money out there that you should definitely apply to a school, even if you feel like you will not be able to afford it.
Okay. Well, speaking of scholarships, where can we find scholarships, and when should we even start applying for scholarships?
Definitely start looking like once you start your college search. So
there are a gazillion scholarships out there for like the most weirdest of all things, attributes you can, for the left hand who has 6 feet, who has 6 toes on their right foot. There's probably something there for that
scholarships
person.
For children that are like your parents are a nurse for, like definitely okay. So have parents check their jobs, because even no matter where they work, because even when I was in college, I worked part-time at a Ross, and even then they had scholarships available for if you or your dependent wanted to go to college. Like so have parents check their jobs. Definitely check with your advisors and your college counselors, because they've been doing this for years, and they likely have an entire list. Like I always email my students out. Anytime a scholarship comes in my email, I send it out. And I have a curated list of scholarships that have like due dates, like university specific scholarships, like area specific scholarships. Like you said, scholarships are out everywhere, and it could be overwhelming, like trying to find them. But one of the best tools that they have just actually added to, we talked about this last time on cfnc.org, they have a scholarship list, and it's literally, they have it separated by county. So you can just go to Granville County or look for, in general, North Carolina scholarships, and they have them. I know in the beginning of the year, a lot of scholarships for, I guess, your higher achieving students, so like 3.3, 3.5 and above are available. So like you have your, the Gates Millennium Scholarship, that's to September 15th. So looking at that, different things. So school specific scholarships. So you have like the Levine Scholarship from UNC Charlotte. A lot of those, like they ask for recommendations. So speaking to your counselor about that. The Park Scholarship for NC State. Moorhead came for UNC Charlotte. I would say definitely just a lot of universities have scholarship websites you can look at and see what's available. So like you said, there are scholarships literally everywhere. Like you want to go to CFNC, go to your counselors, go to the school websites, just look and see what may apply to you. And go for it.
Well, let's say, I've received a bunch of different scholarships. Will the amount of scholarships I receive decrease the amount of student aid that I receive? So, my dream school, the scholarship still doesn't meet my tuition that I need to go to attend the school. will it decrease the amount of aid I'm given?
It will not, because your amount of aid that you're given is based on your need. And so this is it's kind of a tricky question, because technically it does and technically it doesn't. So let's say that the school I wanted to go to was $23,000, and they originally they were going to give me all the student aid, like they were going to give me $23,000 to go. I ended up getting a scholarship that was $10,000. And so collectively you have $33,000 in aid. So this is really, I don't know, this is difficult, because there is technically a cap on the amount of aid that you can receive, but it's usually well over the estimated cost. And so like if you're going to a university that costs $23,000, their cap on the amount of aid you receive might be $30,000. And so as long as your aid doesn't exceed that, like you're fine. And anything else that you get in scholarships and all that that exceeds the amount of the school, as long as it doesn't meet that cap, you're going to get back. And so if your school is offering you $15,000, $20,000 in aid, and you receive a scholarship for $5,000 or $6,000, whatever the difference is over that $23,000 that school costs, you'll get back in what's called a refund check, and you can put it towards loans or housing or whatever. So I think how it works at most schools, as long as you don't meet that cap, which I said is usually well over the estimated cost of the university, you're fine, and it's not going to affect any aid.
Do you have to accept all the money that you are given for aid? So like if you get $10,000 in scholarships and your school you wanted to go to is $23,000, then you really need $13,000. So you don't need to accept the whole $30,000 grant.
No, of course not. No, yeah, okay. You don't. And a lot of students do that with loans, because sometimes schools still offer loans even if you were reported that you got scholarships and stuff. So you, I know how it worked at NC State on our bill. Literally every individual, even if I got like a grant for $15 or something, every single last one you had to check and say, I will accept this, I will accept this, I will accept this. And so if you don't need it, definitely don't, especially when it comes to like loans. You don't want to accept any unnecessary loans. If you're everything is already met, you already have enough money to, if you're living off campus, pay for rent, you have enough money to survive and all that, like you don't have to accept it all. No.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of loans and all these fun things, going to college, if you, let's say you don't get any scholarships and you get all your loans from the government, or you do get half and half or whatever percentage, let's say, going to college can feel like you are going for free because you don't see any cash directly being handled.
Yeah.
For free, even if you get all those loans that you get from the government, it will come back and bite you afterwards. So what would you say are some tips to help students not be buried under student loans?
I would definitely say work to not be buried in student loans, but also I feel like people look at borrowing money or loan as such a negative thing. Like they're like, I don't want any loans, I don't want to have to pay anything back. But honestly, there is nothing wrong with taking, even I have some student loans, but it's manageable. Like the amount of my student loans probably equates to 1 year at my university, and I was there for 4.5. So that tells you how much aid and scholarships and all that I received. Definitely take into consideration what your future goals are, what lifestyle you want to live, what jobs you want to do, and make sure that you're not taking out more than what you would be making annually. Or if you do, look at different loan repayment programs and things like that. Because if you work for things like a nonprofit, or if they have teaching fellows programs, or if you teach in a certain area for a certain amount of years, they automatically wipe out all of your loans. So I would say a lot of students, at the 17, 18-year-old, you have to do the loan counseling, of course, and everyone has to do that in order to accept loans, but really take into consideration what this means. So knowing that, yes, this is not free money and I am going to have to pay it back, having that in mind, but also realizing that there are programs there to help you manage that. And so I don't know what the perfect loan ratio is. It's dependent on the person, because honestly,
every person is different, every situation is different.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I got the extra money back that I didn't need from scholarships and all that,
Mhm.
I put it toward my loans. So that actually,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
yeah.
exactly what I was gonna
And
recommend.
while you're in college, you're not paying interest. So
Exactly. And that interest is what really
yeah.
makes the loan experience awful. So
Yes.
doing that, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, so let's say there is a family out there who is adamant about no loans, none of that stuff. What would you say about advice for helping that student pay for college?
Fill out FAFSA.
Okay.
If you have a job, start putting some money away if you can. Filling
Mhm.
out scholarships. Looking at universities that are going to help you do that. So of course, don't apply to a like definitely not. I'm not gonna say don't apply. Like still apply to the school, but take into consideration like when you get all of your acceptance letters and financial aid award letters from every school, like definitely sitting down and comparing, contrasting, and doing pros and cons for finances for every school to make sure that you can get the smallest bill possible, making sure that if you do have to take out a loan, it's something you can work on paying back while you're in school. Like it's something manageable like that. There are definitely ways to get around it. The most being getting that free money. So scholarships.
Money. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. The scholarships, the grants are really going to help you out. If your parents are in a position where they can help you, reaching out to resources like that. Every school has different scenarios when it comes to like affordability and all that. Some schools, you may say, hey, well, I live in Granville County. I know I can drive and drive and go to Duke or drive and go to North Carolina Central and still live at home. And that right there, that's $4,000 to $5,000 you don't have to pay living on campus. Of course, you have to look and consider like, am I willing to sacrifice having that on-campus experience, being closer to classes, and having to drive 45 every day to not have to do loans? Like these are personal dilemmas that you have to look at the pros and cons of in order to determine what is best for you.
Definitely. Okay. Well, let's say you have parents watching this video, they have other questions that we may not have covered, or just other questions come up. Where can they find resources and help them to answer more questions about the financial side of this thing?
Definitely your college advisor, your guidance counselor in your school, but also the cfnc.org. They have a whole section called Paying for College. It talks about loans, talks about grants, talks about repayment options. It talks about how to determine like how many loans would be too much for you, depending on what degree you want to get, what school you want to go to. I definitely advocate for everyone to go to CFNC. They have so much information, planning, applying, paying, like all of that is there. And then if you want to get more information like FAFSA, of course, like the FAFSA, the government website, making sure that you go in there and it'll tell you about all the different scenarios, like how to fill out FAFSA and everything. I know in the past there was a website called like FAFSA.com that was charging people to do FAFSA, but if you ever go on a website and ask you to pay to do FAFSA, that is a scam. Please do not do that. Yeah. FAFSA stands for the free application. So make sure you're at a like .gov website when you're filling out FAFSA.
Yeah. All right. Well, last question is applying to college does not end once you send your application. It does not end. So how can students best prepare for college once all their applications are done?
Making sure to keep up with your academics because they are going to ask for that last semester, those last semester grades.
January through May semester, they will ask for that.
Yeah, okay. And they can rescind their acceptance if your grades fall below the standards for their university. So making sure that you're keeping up on your grades, prepping. So if you have a job, like saving up for stuff like dorm supplies, maybe a new computer, like things of that nature. If you're going away, so like I'm originally from Charlotte, but I went to North Carolina State University in Raleigh. So like just learning a little bit about the area, about the university, learning how to connect with
Durham.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. honestly, yeah. Even if I was to go to UNC Charlotte, I probably still would have done the same thing, just learning about that general area, like what happens in learning how to connect with other first year students, learning check your email every day, because they're going to send out information about housing. They're going to send out information about university specific scholarships that you would only be eligible for as a student. Because I know at NC State, once you got accepted, you were able to go into an entirely different website that had scholarships that were only for NC State students. And so that's going to help maybe decrease some of those loans and all that. Still filling out scholarships. There are so many scholarships. I think the majority of scholarships come out during second semester. So scholarships, researching the area, trying to connect with other first year students, getting more information about the university. These are all very important things, in making sure that everything is fine with financial aid. Because like I said, sometimes they send out things called verification, or they have other requirements. You want to make sure you're looking at your email and on top of that stuff, so you can get it all out of the way as early as possible. So, yeah.
So check your email all the time. Check it.
Oh, check it. Even now, check it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I think I answered all of the questions that we had. Once again, if you have any more questions about anything regarding college applications, feel free to reach out to your school's college advisor. But thank you for joining me.
Of course. Thank you.
All right.